Hey guys, welcome to Peaky Ads YouTube channel. My name is Vasilii Gamov. I'm CEO at Peaky Ads Marketing Agency, and today we have a very interesting topic. The VIP audience is one of the most valuable player segments in iGaming, accounting for 30 or even 40% of operator revenue, despite being less than 5% of the total player base, according to Gambling Capital Research. Today, we'll explore how to attract, retain, and grow VIP players through strategic branding, engagement, and personalized experience. And we have on air a very interesting guest, Gali Hartuv. Gali, could you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Firstly, thank you so much for having me, Vasilii. For the audience, I'm Gali Hartuv. I'm the CEO and co-founder of WarriorLab, a management consultancy specializing in iGaming, VIP, and B2C operations and strategy. Been in the VIP space now for a little over 13 years. It's a passion point of mine. The founder of Gali's Guide, which is the only freely available VIP resource in the gambling industry, exclusively accessible through LinkedIn. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Nice. Such an enormous experience, I would say. So, hope it will help us today during our friendly chatting. So, let's start with the very basic because we have a different audience on the channel, not only experts but also newbies. So, let's start with defining a VIP audience. What defines a VIP player in today's industry, up to your opinion?
So, my definition, I would say, is less aligned with what the stereotypical definition is of VIP. If you go into most companies, the definition they tell you is it's someone who spends a lot of money. My definition is slightly more broad. I look at VIP players as someone with the ability to spend above your average player's amount, have the ability to lose and not have that loss change their spending behavior. So when I look at VIP, it's about the value component, it's the action component, and it's the behavior component as part of the same definition.
Yes, exactly. To put something on the top of it, I would like to also add that in part of numbers, VIP players in average on the market often generates 5 or even 10 times more average revenue per user in comparison to average player. And also, for example, in the European Union, where I live, uh, there was a research from EGR Global, and it tells us that about 60% of operator profit margin is generated by VIP players. So it's quite a profitable segment. That's why we are discussing it today. So, how has the VIP profile evolved over the past few years?
So when we're looking at how it's evolved, I think the biggest evolution that we're seeing in VIP right now is the rise of Gen Z in VIP spaces. Right now, when we look at this new player segment, this new VIP segment, we're seeing how the expectation has shifted to be more centered around authenticity than a must-have value component. That being one area. The other area that we're seeing in terms of the evolution in VIP space is, of course, cryptocurrency. Now, the cryptocurrency in VIP circles is a giant draw card. It's popular amongst numerous high-value VIP circles, largely down to the simplicity of KYC as the first point, and the speed in which transactions are completed, both deposit and withdrawals. So that would be the evolution of your player audience that we're seeing now, the crypto first VIP player and the rise of the Gen Z new value segment. When we're looking at evolution as VIP profiles, now we're seeing that the days of just having like a tiered loyalty program and offering it as a more general automated basis, that's also changing, where because the VIP profile has become so dynamic And the VIP profile has shifted from geo to geo, from demographic to demographic. We are seeing now that the way that we profile players is becoming more dynamic. And this is with the introduction of technology as well, that is allowing for that evolution to take place.
Yes, exactly. To add something about it, I would like to also mention that about crypto, which you mentioned, it's very popular nowadays, especially with Gen Z. And according to SoftSwiss researches, about 25% of revenue generated by VIP players is going through crypto channels. So yes, that's crucial. It's growing. You should definitely pay attention on those crypto deposits. Gen Z, totally agree. That's for sure. We are looking that we see this demographic group become much more younger nowadays. So there is a big profit in it. And about one side of crypto, it's easy without any QIC or with less QIC, I would say. But also on the other hand, we see that regulations on the market become stride, I would say, and we see that a lot of QIC is requested in the very beginning for usual fiat money processing. So yeah, there are two parts of it. So it's up to you which way to choose as an operator. Let's talk about common misconceptions about VIP players. Do you have any experience about it?
I could probably write a book around misconceptions, but I'll highlight the biggest misconception that we're seeing constantly on every project. It's the same misconception being presented when we begin, and that is that the most valuable metric in VIP is transactional. It goes so much more in depth than just transaction-based value propositions around a VIP cohort. The reality of it is that if you're not analyzing behavior, if you're not looking into volatility, if you're not looking into sustainability, you've already missed a giant portion on how to make your VIP program successful. And the problem is that we are so fixated on transactional metrics that we look beyond attribution and all the other elements that I've previously mentioned. So I think to answer this question as summarized as I can, the biggest misconception is to focus only on transactional.
Yes, exactly. And based on my expertise, I see a lot of common mistakes how to define VIP players. Coming back to our first question, and many operators consider that those VIP players are only those who make huge deposits. But I consider VIP players also those players who can make less deposit per time, but they do it often, frequently, on a regular basis. So in total, during the year, it's also a VIP player. So you should keep in mind this point. And another mistake which I see is that many VIP programs on the market are based only on bonus systems. For some reason, they think that VIP players look only for good bonuses, but that's not true. They also look for exclusive sport events, for tournaments, for VIP lounges and football matches, for example. They look for personal account manager, and they require much more attention in part of your attention and CRM managers. So also, one more thing, for some reason, some operators think that if I have a VIP player, okay, that's fine, he will be with me forever, and I need to do nothing about it. But that's not true. You need to engage even VIP players, and I would say you should put big attention on these processes, because up to statistics from iGaming business, for example, if you don't engage VIP players, the churn rate of those players will be about 60% during 6 months, which is quite an enormous amount, as you understand. So let's talk about growing VIP players within operators on their side.
Vasilii, just to jump in on what you were just saying now,
Yeah.
with the 60% churn,
Yeah,
It's correct that it would accumulate. I mean, most VIP programs churn between 10 and 15% monthly anyway, which is inclusive of responsible gambling. It's inclusive of offboarding of players. But I think going back into the definition, while VIP refers to the most exclusive and valuable player segment, consisting of those high net worth individuals, I think the takeaway is that there's no such thing as a one size fits all in VIP.
exactly.
VIP by definition is subjective and unique to each operator, where VIP involves complex, tailored process that aligns with the operator's strategic goals and the market dynamics. And I think that when you look into the definition of what VIP necessitates, it's looking at operators undertaking a data-driven and tailored approach. And that's where several factors come into play when you start to build that VIP program. It's your geo, it's specific player parameters, it's criteria, it's the maturity of your brand, the maturity of your VIP program, and of course, on top of that, which is what the industry is centered on right now, the operator's financial objectives. But beyond that, there's risk appetite that needs to be present as well. VIP is not going to just be quick money. Big money comes with liability, and liability comes with risk. So there is acceptance of VIP liability thresholds as a consideration. And once we have that understanding of these different nuances, that is when we can look to properly launch a VIP program that is both effective and sustainable.
Yes, exactly. Totally agree with this take. But how can an operator identify potential VIPs on its platform? What are your tactics?
So when it comes to identifying VIPs, this is where you have two different approaches. You have a robust player development strategy, which is one component of growth within VIP. How do we develop the players that we currently have? How do we develop the players that are showing signs of potential? The other one is your onboarding process. So taking those players and taking them through a defined and standalone VIP player development journey, where we're considering both the onboarding process as well as the offboarding process, because the last thing you want is to start onboarding a player, you give them a taste of VIP, it doesn't quite align with what you're looking for, you release them back into the non-VIP player circle, and they leave you because they feel rejected. So identifying players comes through, firstly, having the ability to identify, number one. Number two is having technology to leverage data as close to real time as you can get it, because of the way that VIP works, data changes so drastically, so quickly. And it can't be that you're running a report in the morning that looks at the previous day, because by that point, the data is completely changed. It needs to be in the moment, where you need to have alerts, you need to have prompts. And then when it comes to further identifying, again, with technology, what we're seeing now is with the emergence of AI in VIP, we're seeing early detection models, we're seeing LTV prediction models, we're seeing more and more AI machine learning algorithms go to work to identify behavioral attribution as a support of a VIP program. So AI is never going to be able to manage your program or onboard a player, but it's the perfect assistant to support the human oversight and the human touch of a VIP program to engage those players as soon as value or the VIP behavior is identified.
Yes, exactly. And talking about those AI algorithms, do you know if operators develop that on their side, or are there any solutions on the market which you can take and implement like a tool if you're an operator? Do you know
So
anything about it?
So it works in both. I mean, WarriorLab, as a business, we've partnered with some of these AI solutions that do work as third-party providers, but we've also supported operators that have the data science capability to build it in-house. So they exist within operators independently, but there are really good companies in the market that have the ability and the understanding to offer this as a service. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot out there that's not yet where it needs to be, but there are some very, very good companies in the market right now that do have this ability.
Yes, exactly. And coming back to your take about personalization of such activities, for sure, dear viewers, you should keep in mind that you need not only send emails, you should have a dedicated VIP managers. And for example, up to iGaming tracker research, if you do this customized retention with sales manager or customer care managers or whatever you call them, uh, it support like um, to have about 22% more in average in your profits within those VIP players. And for sure, don't forget about very simple customized things as to birthday rewards like customized VIP based on behavior. It also increases retention rates even up to 15%, and that's what I saw not only in iGaming industry but also in finance industry, in e-commerce, in Nutra Health, whatever. It works everywhere. There are some common things which you can also use if you're just in the beginning of this way and you're not ready to go with AI. Start with simple steps. So I think we covered this part. Do you have anything to add here?
I think it's important for the audience to understand just how drastic the difference is between acquisition and retention in the state. A VIP player at a portfolio level, the highest segment within the VIP segment, the hosted player, in order to find and convert FTDs to reach that point, your conversion rate is less than 1%. And when you're looking at the conversion rate of acquisition FTDs, already we know acquisition compared to retention is roughly 5 times more expensive. Now, when you take it by a multiple of less than 1%, you're looking as high as 500 times more expensive to find that VIP at the highest segment. But at the same time, and this is where, again, there's a misconception that now you found this VIP and you've lost one, you found one, so it's 1-to-1. But that's not the case. Often what you'll find there is a deficit. So now you've spent potentially as high as 500 times more to find this VIP player. But the reality is that you may have lost for the number 100,000 euro a month player, and you've replaced them with a 20,000 a month player. There's still that 80,000 a month deficit that you have. So yes, your unique actives reflect as 1-to-1, but your bottom line contribution has a deficit of 80,000 a month. That's just one example. So when we're looking acquisition to retention, just to piggyback on what you were saying, Vasilii, regarding the bespoke retention efforts and engagement, 100% it's going to add to your bottom line, not just from a cost-saving perspective from acquisition, but also from a retention and spend perspective. You're prolonging the lifespan of that player.
Yeah, totally agree. And here we slowly goes into the part discussing how to attract VIP players. And let's start with discussing should VIP programs be visible to all players? What are tactics or strategies on the market about publicity of those VIP efforts of operators?
So this depends on quite a few factors, such as regulatory requirements, brand direction and strategy, how acquisition efforts feed into retention. It also hinges on marketing and engagement capacity. So if an operator lacks the team or resources to manage a public program effectively, it can backfire. And we've seen this backfire before through our consulting. But the importance here is, once a program becomes public knowledge, it's incredibly difficult to retract that program or make drastic changes to that program unless you begin offering something really unique and distinct. So often with public programs, and I think it's safe to say, if you look at the broader industry, we've become really cookie cutter. We've lost that impact of that unique selling point. Everything is starting to look the same. Everything is starting to read the same. And operators need to assess whether they can genuinely support and sustain a public VIP program, as ultimately what you find is many programs falter due to oversight. And that's where I think when it comes to should VIP programs be visible, I've always been an advocate on having a transparent VIP offering, but transparent in the sense that you can deliver on what you're publicizing, not putting yourself out there as a sales pitch and over promising and then you just under deliver, because all you're going to do is create VIP churn.
Sure, if you promise something, you should deliver it 100%. And I can confirm that what I see on the market, that some of programs do it in public way, some of them doing it in private way. It depends on different factors, which you mentioned. But also, I think the best approach is to have some public VIP program, but still have some flexibility to add something special for those players who generate your business, generates your profit. There should be a space for some additional value, I would say, for the best players on your platform, even if you have some rules and program already.
I'll let you in on a more unspoken component regarding most VIP programs is no VIP program publishes 100% of what they offer. And that's exactly down to the fact that no one wants their ideas, their unique selling points, and what's not spoken about being copied or mimicked by their competitors. So what you see on the outside, the way that I like to describe it is the VIP program or the VIP page, it's like an iceberg. You are seeing this much, but there is this much underneath that you have no idea what is behind, how the team is run, the training that they've received, the strategies that they're utilizing, the KPIs that they're working towards, or what is important, the acquisition strategy, retention strategy, etc. You see exactly what the player sees. And as an operator, you can't only use what your competitors are publishing, because there is at least 80% behind the scenes that you don't know.
Exactly. And here I would like to ask you about the craziest example which you know about those VIP actions. And while you think about it, I will share mine. What I know, some operator in CIS, I will not tell the name, but still, they've been delivering beautiful models with monies in the bags straight to VIP flats, houses, and so on. This was the part of awarding players for those activities. Quite a crazy one. Yeah, in Europe it's not possible, but in CIS it was like that about 10 years ago. What do you know about it? Do you have any craziest examples of such activities? Maybe one or two of them.
I'm thinking what I can or can't share.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, sure.
I mean, I've heard of cases, and I've seen cases more in like the GCC territory where cash is obviously a very big focal point, where briefcases are hand delivered to houses and gym bags are stuffed with, dollar bills. And I mean, I've seen these instances before. Nowadays, it's becoming more around crypto transactions, although I've seen in the past, again, in GCC many years ago, we're talking maybe 10, 12 years ago, when I was just getting into the space, about VIPs requesting gold as payment and things like that. But in today's VIP space, I mean, these stories are becoming few and far between. They still, of course, happen, and in almost all instances in unregulated spaces. But I think just to ensure that I don't say something that I shouldn't, I'll keep it at that.
Yeah, sure. So why we discussing it? Because you always should think in advance what you can over deliver to your VIP players. It can be gold, as you mentioned, it can be models, as I mentioned, it can be exclusive parties on yachts, on islands, whatever. But there is always should a space for such creativity, I would say, in this point. So coming back to our agenda, what do you think about when it comes to branding a VIP programs? What works for it and what doesn't?
So when it comes to branding, it's a broad topic. But when we talk about branding, the way that I see VIP is VIP branding should be treated as though you're marketing an entirely separate business. Okay, it needs to stand out in a very, very saturated and crowded space, because repeating the same strategies, it doesn't create definition, it doesn't create differentiation. Again, what I was mentioning about the iceberg, for example, you're only seeing this much, and if you're going to copy someone else, especially if you're new to the space, you're going to be 2 steps behind every single time. The way that I usually train like account managers and heads of VIP when it comes to promoting their VIP brand is look at it from the perspective that your VIP brand consists of multiple businesses, and you're trying to tailor to a business portfolio which requires individual strategies. So for the case of this example, and I'm sure if anyone that I've ever taught is listening, they'll have heard this analogy. If you're a business portfolio manager and you have multiple businesses in your portfolio, an ice cream truck, a cinema, a shoemaker, and a dog parlor, there is nothing in common with any of those businesses. So to utilize a branding or marketing strategy with this one size fits all to go to all of them, it's a waste of resources, it's a waste of time, because at the end of the day, if you're promoting VIP and it only appeals to one audience, you lose the other three in that exercise. So it's about tailored branding, tailored marketing. You can create an inclusive brand that is neutral, but the way that you engage your audiences needs to be data-driven and specific. And I think that when it comes to building that brand, it's understanding your audience and it's understanding your resources, and then it's understanding how do you engage it.
Yes, exactly. But I think there is a point about you told that it should be tailored, it should be exclusive to every player, kinda, yeah. But also, I would like to mention one thing. When I have so many experience about this thing, when you do segmentation, when you focus on it, you're losing the general view, yeah. So maybe it's a good point also not to overcomplicate, I would say, those VIP activities. Maybe you should also simplify it if it's very hard to understand how to get it and so on. Simple things you should reach to get this VIP program. What do you think about it? Do you agree or not?
I think you can definitely simplify the process. A lot of the time people are creating VIP brands without actually realizing the type of brand that they're creating. There are three distinctive brands in VIP. You have an extended brand, which is simply a VIP brand that mirrors your ordinary website, and it's just the VIP section of your website. You have a sub brand, which is a VIP program with its own identity that exists as a brand within a brand. And then you have your exclusive brand, which is more like your decentralized VIP ecosystem that is operating independently of the brand. And you get this very often in the crypto environments, where once the VIPs go through the ranks, they're moved into an offsite environment that is invite only and completely shielded from non-VIP, which is often also the most complicated brand to create. So when you're building that brand, it's really about determining what brand do you want? Do you want an extended brand or do you want a sub brand? Because that's going to define all your engagement strategies, your design languages, your tone of voice, your identity. It's going to define everything. But often people just create a brand because they go, we need a public VIP program, but they don't look into the semantics that go with publishing that brand.
Yes, exactly. And let's go into retention of those VIP players. What keeps VIP players engaged and loyal?
I think without question, a solid account management program is a non-negotiable. You need to have account managers to ensure that VIPs feel heard and understood. If you can have an in-person component, hospitality and non-digital engagement to build rapport in person, this is an incredible value add to have in your program. It's great to send gifts and it's great to send, items to your players, but gifting doesn't compare to that in-person engagement and delivery. Often with those hospitality events, often with going out and taking your VIPs to a dinner or to a show or something like that, you're creating memories. So if I'm just going to send you a nice watch or I'm going to send you something like that, at the end of the day, yes, it might be personal and it might be what you wanted or needed in that moment. But there's a fine line to taking you out for dinner and giving you that watch in person. And I think that that's a big component. And I think in that sense, around retention, beyond the in-person component, we're looking at that proactivity that I mentioned earlier. Being proactive rather than reactive, where most of the time, you'll find that the industry is predominantly reactive. And again, with technology, it's supporting us to evolve. It's supporting us to move to this VIP 2.0, where we are becoming more proactive through these preemptive analytical models. We're addressing behavior in the moment. And I think that the training components around VIP teams embracing this more proactive personalization, which is a term that I coined last year, how to leverage data insights and proactivity around the VIP persona and the profile that you've created and bringing the two together, that is going to be the next phase of VIP retention.
Exactly, and also letting you, dear viewers, to know about basic stuff which you also need to have. It's about fast withdrawals, because VIP like fast withdrawals. If he win bigs, he need to get this money in a fast way. Unfortunately, I know a lot of examples on the market when a player made a big win, and there is starting processes about, oh, it's potentially fraud, it's something trying to scam these players and so on. Unfortunately, there are cases like that on the market, so you need to have those anti-fraud activities in advance, and when your player win for real, make a fast withdrawal and he will come back to a brand 100%, because he will trust you. And about
Vasilii, to add on to that, there's two additional withdrawal components that VIP programs need to also acknowledge here. One is this outdated philosophy of weekly withdrawal limits. This is a concept that existed very heavily on the gray and black market for years, and still exists today. Weekly withdrawal limits is the number one killer when it comes to VIP after the fact. It's obviously not something that happens until it happens. But another component that you're seeing in tiered reward programs and tiered VIP programs is the concept of using withdrawals as a benefit. And withdrawals are not a benefit. Withdrawals are a requirement. Exactly.
Yeah.
So putting there, now you're a platinum VIP member that now you can withdraw up to 100,000 a week.
That sounds like a joke, yeah, but
it does.
A lot of brands uses such strategies. That's
correct.
Ridiculous.
But if I'm a VIP player and I know the volumes that I play, and I go through your website before I even register, and I see that you're putting there a limit or that this is a benefit that I need to earn, I'm not even going to waste my time signing up.
Exactly. That's 100% sure. And if we talk about online part also, what brands can also implement in their website. For example, we can have here a Kasuma VIP program as an example. They have some kind of gamification, progress bars, and up to researchers, it led to 40% increase in player retention, even in VIP section. So think about those features which you can implement on your website, not only talking about exclusive events or fast withdrawals, but also make some gamification, because as we mentioned in the very beginning, Gen Z is here and we need to cover the gamified mind also, I would say. So what do you think about navigating regulatory challenges while maintaining VIP loyalty? Where is the golden middle, I would say?
So this has been a conversation as old as time about how does VIP operate in a regulated space. And of course, in some regulations, it is incredibly challenging, or it's completely forbidden. If you look at areas like Sweden and some of the Scandinavian markets, if you look at the UK, Italy, Germany, Netherlands, it's very, very challenging to try to operate VIP. Now, when it comes to navigating those regulatory changes and when it comes to implementing a clean VIP program that falls within the framework of regulation, first and foremost, a VIP program and strategy needs to collaborate with the people that are specialists in those regulatory frameworks, your compliance teams, your MLROs. There has to be a legal and compliance framework built into the VIP program. Now, the biggest challenge here is the definition and how teams are perceiving player behavior and value. Where VIP is seeing value, compliance and risk teams are seeing liability. And that leads to a clash in mindset. So it's not a case of having teams operate in silos and then they just fight endlessly internally, because why would you restrict my VIP, or why would you put a monthly net loss limit without telling me, or whatever it could be. The reality is that the teams need to sit at the same table. They need to compile these strategies collaboratively and run together, because the reality is the moment your operation is audited or there's some kind of regulatory inspection, what is the starting point that the regulator goes to? They go straight to VIP. So the navigation is that if you don't have a collaborative VIP risk compliance strategy in place, and those teams are not sitting together at the table, you're going to fall short somewhere, or you're going to just create operational friction.
Exactly. And let's talk not only about how to retain VIP players, or who they are, or other parts of this interesting topic. Let's come back a little bit back. If we talk about marketing tunnel, let's talk a little about acquisition. How to attract those VIP players to operator brands. What strategies could you recommend nowadays?
So first things first, with acquisition retention, and I suppose this is a conversation that became far more public towards the end of last year, where there were a lot of posts on LinkedIn about how we're so fixated on FTDs and we're so obsessed with acquisition. And then you have the retention argument coming from operators, but you have the acquisition argument coming from affiliates. The reality is, I'll break it down. Actually, it will be easier. First thing first, the problem. The problem here is that we have siloed strategies. The siloed strategies over here is the missed opportunities. Acquisition and retention often operating in isolation. There is a friction that is caused between these two independent functions, and that leads to inefficiency. The next problem here is a lack of alignment. So the short-term wins and long-term losses. So without that synergy, you find that the sustainability component and growth component is going to struggle. The solution in this case here is to break down those silos. So strengthening collaboration between acquisition and retention teams, having that seamless transition where acquisition efforts feed into retention strategies, and it's not a handoff. It's a continuation. That continuation moves into your player development focus. So how does the VIP operation in this instance look towards high value players, where we understand that high value players aren't just acquired, that they're nurtured through personalized experiences and meaningful relationship, etc. But then it comes down to data and using data as the bridge. Retention insights lead to better acquisition. That is the summary of this entire topic. And we need to use data and we need to share data to help our affiliates and to help acquisition to target the right players based on the insights that we have access to so that they can do their job more effectively. And acquisition data is what's going to ultimately lead to smarter retention. So we're leveraging those early VIP insights to tailor retention strategies from day one. And I think to summarize all of this, why it matters is because we're looking at sustainable growth. We don't want volatile spikes and equally volatile drop-offs. That's not good for anyone. It's not good for the affiliate. It's not good for the operator. And it's certainly not good for the player. So when we're looking at this collaboration and how it strengthens the VIP offering, how we're looking towards long-term loyalty, consistent value, I think beyond marketing, because this isn't just a campaign, it's transforming the VIP program as a strategic asset, and it's leveraging that potential public program for acquisition purposes. It's giving that competitive edge, visibility, personalization, and it's helping that sophistication to be leveraged as retention, where this isn't really optional. It's essential for success. And if I go back to SBC Lisbon last year when I was chairing the casino floor, there was an acquisition panel that was focusing on AI. And a group of affiliates and content creators were speaking on this panel, and the audience asked the question, how do we promote a VIP program? And one of the content experts on the stage, who was backed up by a very large representative of a huge affiliate. And, you would think, being in this position of authority with experience, that the answer would be more strategic, but it wasn't. The answer was, you can just ask AI to give you a good sales pitch, and you can customize it to promote the program to be the most effective sales pitch. And I'm sitting there, obviously can't participate as the chairperson on the floor, going, absolutely not. You should go to your VIP team, ask them what they're doing, ask them what they have available, and promote that. And this was simply an illustration of the disconnect between collaboration. And I think that is the takeaway, is that we're still holding on to, well, AI can do it. Well, AI can't do it. Not yet, at least. And I don't believe it ever will get to the point that it can replace how we promote VIP for acquisition and retention purposes.
Yes, exactly. What you told about, it's very interesting, but it may be kind of complicated for those who is in the beginning of the way still. Yeah. So maybe you should do some proactive activities, as you mentioned. Proactivity is a key also, and maybe you should segment. If you don't understand who is potentially VIP, take the lower segment, take the middle segment, and try to do some VIP level activities there, just on a little part of your database. And you will see that potentially there are VIPs in the middle level with you playing right now. Maybe it's also a key. And coming back to acquisition, it mostly online nowadays, because of the COVID, as we discussed yesterday while preparing for this podcast. But are there any other ways nowadays, like offline activities? I know it's quite popular in Gulf countries. I know it's quite popular in African countries to make some offline activities, participate in some golf clubs, luxury car clubs, whatever, and trying to attract VIP players from there with models or something like that. What do you think about those activities? Is there any potential, or it's totally digital nowadays?
When it comes to a VIP audience, it's more challenging. It's not about brand exposure in that case, because the VIP program, as we mentioned, it is a unique selling point that exists within the brand. So it's not like you're putting up a billboard or you're putting advertising on the back of taxis or whatever it is, or creating a watch party to go and see the Euros. It goes beyond that. Back in the day, when I was still doing account management, I don't know, 10 years ago, we had a term for going out into the field, into VIP suites, for lack of better description, which was called whale hunting. And what it would be is that you would dress the part, you would look good, you'd get your VIP pass, you go to the shared suite or the shared lounge with 50 or 100, VIP passes, and you'd go give business cards, and you'd go and you'd meet people, and you would have conversations at events, be it at the horse racing or football or some kind of gala or whatever it was. COVID completely changed all of this. COVID, aside from making people in that period of time less social, what it did was it changed the ways that VIPs present themselves. The days of VIPs going to these, exclusive events wearing, say, like a 5,000 euro suit, it doesn't happen like that really much these days. Nowadays, your VIP will show up in jeans and a shirt, or even a t-shirt. So going out and trying to look for indicators of value, the Rolexes, the diamond earrings, or whatever it could be, it's not that simple anymore. So the offline acquisition and the offline awareness, it's definitely changed for VIP. It's still not to say that it's impossible, because it's not. What has changed now is, how do you leverage your current VIPs to meet new VIPs? Because VIPs know VIPs. And the reality is, it's about leveraging the people that you know have value, which by extension, you'd assume that they surround themselves in similar circles. And it's about trying to engage your existing players to introduce you to other VIP players. And then it's up to you and the player to make it worthwhile to get that new business through the door.
Yeah, very, very interesting point. I can agree with it. Let's go to the quickfire round and insights and takeaways. And one underrated tactic for growing VIP audience. What is your best?
One underrated tactic. Take the time to learn your audience and invest time and energy into building relationships. VIPs are only prepared to commit as much as you do.
Nice. And from my side, we already discussed those offline activities, but also I know one thing: there are brokers on the market, brokers for VIP players. You can imagine that it's quite similar for forex or financial markets. When you have a broker, when a rich person have a broker, and he recommend which platform, which bank, which stocks to invest. I know that on our casino market, there are cases like that also. There are brokers who recommends to rich players where to play, how to play, and so on. Maybe you should look for them also. Maybe it will bring you some money, but who knows? So the next point: what is the biggest mistake, up to your opinion, operators make with VIP program?
I think the biggest mistake that operators make is that they think that you can automate VIP. So sidelining or bypassing or even minimizing the account management function, which always leads to an overwhelmed team or a disengaged audience, because the account managers are burning out. They don't have time to learn their players and personalize to the same degree, because everything is trying to be automated. And the result is a disengaged player base, which will only lead to increased churn rates.
Yes, on my side, I can confirm it. Mentioned that the biggest misconception, as we mentioned several topics above, that focusing only on bonuses is not a good strategy. VIP players nowadays, it's about engagement, personal engagement, and additional perks outside the casino, I would say. So, and what is your bold prediction for VIP programs in iGaming for future of VIP programs?
So my prediction for the future, so it actually started at the end of last year becoming more popular, and that is the shift from linear VIP programs to dynamic VIP programs, which will be driven by advanced technology. And I believe we will see a shift in strategy and methodology that will support the tech that enables this shift to become more dynamic.
Nice. From my point, I will pick one point from SoftSys research. They predict that this year, in 2025, about 40% of VIP revenue will come through cryptocurrencies. And that tendency I see on the market, and I think it's the future because of compliance, KYC, stronger regulations, and so on. So this is my take. And let's go to summarizing, to finalizing our beautiful and I hope useful podcast for our dear viewers. What about final thoughts about these VIP programs? What about personalizations, exclusivity, strategic engagement? Anything best to summarize the whole picture?
I think after everything that we've said now, if there's ever a time to be more calculated and not rush or try and cut corners to launch your VIP program, it is now. The industry is too competitive and it's too saturated for you to be able to make mistakes, especially when launching your VIP program or brand. Rather, it is best to assess and make the right decision before going public. And if you don't know what to do, then you need to ask for help or you need to hire the right people to support your strategies and business objectives so that you don't make a long-term costly mistake after the fact.
Nothing to add. 100% agree. That's the best strategy. So, to follow us on social media, we will have mine LinkedIn of Gali Hartuv, his contacts below this video. So don't hesitate to use it, ask any question or require any services. You see such marvelous experience and expert we have here on air. And about key takeaways from my point. What to add? AI data driven processes. I know you're kind already, all of you dear viewers already stuffed with this AI, but it works not so good, but it will work better, I'm sure. Crypto also, loyalty exclusive programs, not only bonuses, fast withdrawals. For me personally, if you don't have fast withdrawals, do nothing. Start with fast withdrawals and with no limits on those withdrawals. This is the first point you should implement. After that, you can think about all the rest. And for sure, regulatory challenges will be here on the market and it will grow cryptocurrencies as a method. So that's it. Gali, do you have anything to add, like final take?
I think that's it from my side. Just for anyone that wants to read more about VIP and wants to learn about various topics, I would just say go on through to Gali's guide, which is for free. It talks about all things related to VIP, and feel free to go and learn for yourself.
Exactly. Subscribe to Gali channel, social networks, his website. Subscribe to Peaky Ads to get more insights about iGaming, not only about VIP program, but we have so many to share, and we're gonna share it in the following weeks. So thank you for watching. It was a pleasure as always, and see you on the next episode. Bye bye.